gehoord in de zomerzon. Ik geloof dat het toen daar met jou op het strand was in Lissabon. Of was het daar toen in Parijs, achter een koep vers mokka-ijs. Het kan ook zijn dat het was met z'n twee boven zee in een luchtballon. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, het gaat niet uit mijn kop. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, ik sta er soms mee op. Ik ben verliefd op jou, daarom vergeet ik alles gauw en weet ik het niet meer. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, zo gaat het ongeveer. Ik ben verliefd. Ik ben verliefd. Ik ben verliefd. Dat kun je zo zien. Het kan ook zijn dat ik samen met jou in een vliegtuig naar Oslo zat. Of kwam het uit een café in zo'n straatje, we waren in Trinidad. Of was het met een goed glas wijn, op dat terrasje in Berlijn. Of was het Moskou waar ik mijn eerste kus van jou heb gehad. Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat nou vergeten? Ik ben vergeten waar ik dit liedje heb gehoord in de zomerzon. Ik geloof dat het toen daar met jou op het strand was in Lissabon. Of was het daar toen in Parijs, achter een koep vers mokka-ijs. Het kan ook zijn dat het was met z'n twee boven zee in een luchtballon. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, het gaat niet uit mijn kop. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, ik sta er soms mee op. Ik ben verliefd op jou, daarom vergeet ik alles gauw en weet ik het niet meer. Shalali, shalala, shalali, shalala, zo gaat het ongeveer. Ik ben verliefd. Ik ben verliefd. Ik ben verliefd. Dat kun je zo zien. Het kan ook zijn dat ik samen met jou in een vliegtuig naar Oslo zat. Of kwam het uit een café in zo'n straatje, we waren in Trinidad. Of was het met een goed glas wijn, op dat terrasje in Berlijn. Of was het Moskou waar ik mijn eerste kus van jou heb gehad. Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat? Hoe kan ik dat?
Well, we're back right here in the studio, and I hope you enjoyed that beautiful footage of Holland. It's our pleasure to have right here in the studio His Excellency Mr. Frans Potuyt, who is the Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to Kuwait. Your Excellency, welcome to our program.
Thank you. Great to be in your show, and may I say, great pictures that we just saw about my country.
Very beautiful pictures, and we'll be getting to some of the beautiful destinations and things to do in the Netherlands very shortly. But first off, Mr. Ambassador, we'd like to welcome you to the state of Kuwait. I know you've been here about a month or so far. Can you tell us your impressions of the country so far?
Now, it's indeed very short that I'm here, so I cannot give an elaborate judgment about everything. But firstly, the welcoming here. It was already the first day after I arrived here that I was welcomed at the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the second day His Highness the Emir received me to present credentials. So I really see this as a token of the great friendship between our two countries. So, and if you say the first impression, I like the way, you know, the people behaving themselves. They are welcoming, they are pleasant, and they are relaxed. You know, the great stress, you know, you don't see that so much in the relationship that you have with the people, but on the other hand, there might be not so much stress, but lot of things are being done. This weekend, for the first time, I had my own car in the country, and I could drive a little bit around. And you're impressed.
How was that experience driving around for the first
you
time?
know, I know how to drive in Cairo, I know how to drive in Tehran, and I must say it was not as bad as people sometimes told me for Kuwait. But then seeing the flyovers that are constructed, the roads they are making, you know, the logistics, I really have the idea that Kuwait is working to a better infrastructure for the future, and it's you know, it's great to see, you know, the forward-looking way of your government and your country. Also, I went to the north, the part that you will have your new port, and the new city that you want to.
Area, yeah?
It is fantastic.
Amazing.
And I know that you're working very hard with the Koreans and the Chinese to have the land reclamations. I would say good luck, Kuwait, but next time also try to involve the Dutch, because we are masters in building ports, dredging, and all this kind of activities.
Yeah, before we came on air, we were talking a little bit about that, Mr. Ambassador, and we'll get to that very shortly in our discussion more about your beautiful country. But I'm sure the audience now, I mean, you're new to the state of Kuwait, and so they'd like to, maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you've served before, a little bit about your background, Your Excellency.
I started working at the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs when I was 26 years old, just after university. And and then you go to a normal career, which means that you start somewhere as a third secretary. In my case, that was in China, and then you have to struggle yourself through the ranks of the ladder, which is not always easy. But and that brought me to many countries. It's always sometimes you are posted in the capital, and sometimes you go abroad. When I was in The Hague, it was mainly arms control and security issues, and abroad it was many countries. I can mention Syria, I served, also taking care of Lebanon and Jordan. I also was in Tehran. I served in Afghanistan for a while. I visited, you know, this.
So you've been in some hot spots too,
yes,
Mr. Ambassador, yeah?
Last time, the last time I was ambassador, I was in Kazakhstan.
Okay.
It's also a very interesting country on many respects. And also I served, it's also interesting for many of your viewers, I was in Ramallah, in Al-Quds, also the Dutch representative, so for the Palestinians.
So some very interesting locations, Mr. Ambassador, which is, I'm sure, giving you a lot of experience in the area also.
Okay, so yes, I cannot deny that, but you also know about all the sensitivities and also the problems in this area, because what's happening now, you know, Kuwait is a very quiet spot, but surrounded by all kind of the countries where many developments are taking place.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, we hope you have a very pleasant and good, productive stay right here in the state of Kuwait in the upcoming few years that you will be here. And maybe you could tell us now a little bit. We saw that beautiful footage that yourself and your staff provided at the top of our program. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your beautiful country and what it has to offer, please.
You know, you can compare sometimes Kuwait and the Netherlands, because I was just mentioning that Kuwait is in the middle of three important countries, but it's the smallest country in between. And that is also the case with Holland. Holland is a very small country. Of course, I think it's double in size of Kuwait, but nevertheless it's a small country. And in between Germany, France, England. So all through our history, we had to find a balance between all these countries. We had to speak the languages, and sometimes we had a war, then with the Germans, then with the British, and then with the, you know, all these kind of things were happening. But we had to find the right balance, and that's also what you see here in Kuwait. Your emir is, I think, a very wise man, always has a moderate approach, and so that's something that brings our two countries together. But there is another element. The Netherlands is a country of merchants. We went in ships going all over the world, meeting other cultures.
Similar to Kuwait in the
Exactly,
past before the
exactly.
discovery of oil.
Okay, but still there. But you have this tradition. You
Yes.
have the maritime tradition.
Of course.
Completely different than when you are a landlocked country.
Yes.
You always are open for new cultures, new societies, and that, of course, it is a natural that you have curiosity towards all these cultures, but also that there's respect and also openness, transparency, and this is something that is very Dutch. But I think it's also very much what the Kuwaitis like, so that's why it brings our countries together. So that's why I'm here as an ambassador, trying to not only to strengthen the relationship, but also to bring the people together, and the youth, the students. You know, I think there's a lot to do, and I think my country has a lot to offer in this respect to the Kuwaiti people.
Well, since you brought up now these positives and everything, how do you hope to strengthen that relationship during your stay here? Do you have any activities, events that you plan to have in the future to let people know more about Holland? Any joint projects that you would like to implement during your stay in Kuwait, Mr. Ambassador?
Yes. You know, to strengthen the relationship, you know, again, you have to know that you had a terrible period 25 years ago. You know, occupation, what was very... We also had it in the Second World War. We also were occupied. And it took us 25 years, till the 60s, 70s, before we had restructured our country. And, you know, because in that time we only wanted to, you know, to get back what we lost. And it took a whole generation in order to get ready for the new future. And this is also something what I see nowadays in Kuwait. You know, the generation that had this traumatic experience of the occupation, of course, had to work very hard in order to get things, you know, on track again.
Yes.
To get on track. But now there's a new generation. And the new generation, of course, has not a vivid memory from itself, from all these atrocities in the past. So they have a new look at the future. And I'm sure that, like also in Holland, the second generation after the events brought a modernization and a new thinking and being more focused on the future. I think this is the new generation also in Kuwait that is knocking the door. They go to study in the United States. They are in England. But they also have to study in Holland.
So that's it. You plan maybe to have a promotional week to talk about Dutch universities,
yes, because people
Dutch
think
products.
Yes, now the products, that's not so much a problem, because go to a shop, every grocery, you see everywhere, supermarket, the Dutch cheese is everywhere, the Dutch vegetables are everywhere.
Tasty.
So it is difficult to promote it even more than it is. But what we can promote is, let's say, the more, you know, the exchange of technology, of students, education, you know, so many other elements.
Maybe, like you said at the top of the interview, in terms of the construction field too.
Absolutely.
You have expertise, and I know you were saying before we came on air that there's a lot of projects ongoing in Holland right now. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, where could be some joint ventures together.
Yes. Now, we know in Holland that we worked, but it's the land reclamation. You have to know that half of Holland is under the level of the sea. So in order to protect our country, we have to build dikes, and that we did so, because otherwise it would be overflooded by water. But in the meantime, also Holland has a little surface, so we could take more land from the water in the midst of Holland. And we were able to create a whole new province in Holland on the sea. So, and if people contemplate of going to Holland and they want to know, yes, of course they go to Amsterdam and maybe go to The Hague, but it's also very, very interesting to see how we build a completely new city.
And where is this located, Mr.
Oh, not far from Amsterdam, just 40 kilometers further on.
So very close.
It is very close, and it's fascinating. And I think this is also, you know, what will be the case in your new city that you will have in the north. You have to know that, for instance, the Dutch engineers, we built this Palm City in Dubai.
Dubai, yes.
You know, that's our expertise. So again, come to Holland, and we will help you as much as we can in this kind of great projects.
Tell us more about some of the beauties and natural, beautiful places to visit and things to do in your country, Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to talk about too, but please tell us a little bit.
Now, The point is, if Kuwaitis are going to Holland, it's normally 1 day or 2 days in Amsterdam. And of course it's great. They're most welcome and
Very
they have
beautiful
a great
city.
time, and everybody, people, Kuwaitis always talk about Amsterdam. But I like to talk also about The Hague, about Rotterdam, but also, Delft is great, Leiden is great, these medieval cities that we have in Holland, and they have to offer a lot. But also don't forget, our horticulture, our flowers,
We
our
have some
parks.
beautiful footage here also, Mr. Ambassador.
Oh, these are
Some of
bicycles I see
the
here.
cities and some of the destinations, yes?
Yes. No, that's yes. We saw that already.
Mm-hmm.
But Holland is a green country, and that's all the difference with Kuwait, because it's used to be a desert, and I'm of course happy to see that so many Kuwaitis would like to give attention to the garden, and they like to have the trees and the bushes and whatever, and also in that field, so we could add a lot, also for the new parks in your country. So this is also a niche what I think we still can develop.
What are some of these pictures here, Mr. Ambassador?
Okay, so water again, huh? Yes, and the green lens. I don't know what.
Yeah, agriculture is also
agriculture.
very important.
Now the windmills, of course. Now that's renewable energy.
Yes.
It's a bit difficult to convince the Kuwaitis that energy is not only oil, but we have to work with wind and with solar energy. But also, if you're interested in that, and I know because you want to diversify also the energy over here. To get rid of all these aircos, and the fuel consumption for that. So please come to Holland. Now this you will never see in
Not around this area, no.
Because the skating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. This is where at all around
That's
Holland,
Amsterdam.
I think.
That's Amsterdam.
Beautiful, like river cruise.
Yeah.
Some
No,
nighttime footage there of
I think this is the Hague or Rotterdam.
Yes.
This is of course the flowers.
Very famous.
But
for
also the flowers also come to Kuwait.
Yes.
No problem.
Very
No,
famous
that's,
for your flowers, all kinds of flowers too. And it's that time of the year where weather's getting better in Kuwait, and it's the planting season, so we get a lot of flowers from your beautiful country, Mr. Ambassador. So you could take a look at there also.
Yes, of course the vegetables, we discussed that already.
Yeah, so nice to see so many great products from the Netherlands. We'll take a look at some more of the beautiful footage there that we have.
The tomatoes, but it's also technology that you easily can also get in Kuwait. For instance, poultry. You buy a lot of chicken from many countries, but of course you can have your own poultry farms, also for the eggs, and we can give you all the technology for in that field.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, hopefully during your stay this can all be coming.
It will all be realized.
Yeah, hopefully
we have 4 years to do it.
Hopefully you will have a very productive stay. And Mr. Ambassador, a lot of people ask now about the visa process. Now, how is the visa process for Kuwaitis who want to visit? Any special documents that they should bring to complete the visa process, Mr. Ambassador?
Now, may I first say that we never have problems with Kuwaitis in the Netherlands. So, and we all know that with the European countries in Schengen framework, we are now thinking about giving a visa freedom for Kuwaitis. And I don't see any reason that we still have to go on with this visa process, but nevertheless there are rules and we still have this visa process. So that's why we are rather generous towards the Kuwaitis. So for the paperwork, it's nothing special. I think you have an insurance and you have your booking for your flight and for the hotel, but it's more or less that's it. And then we try to give you a visa as long as possible. I think several, 3 or 4 or 5 years, sometimes even, and also multiple. So if you really have some serious business, tourism, or whatever to do in Holland, so we will accommodate you as much as we can.
And Mr. Ambassador, what's the best time of year to visit there and enjoy some of the beautiful scenes there?
Now, of course, I have to tell you that you can all over the year, but I have to also to be a bit more precise. I think April, May is great, But then also the summer season is also excellent, especially for people in Kuwait who don't like to be too long in the 40 or 50 degrees that you have over here. Come to Holland and it's very pleasant. It's often between 20 and 30 degrees. So I think the season is quite good, I think, till September. And of course then the rain starts. And then you have to be a little bit careful.
Bit of a rainy season now, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Right now you would rather be in Kuwait than in the Netherlands, of course.
And Mr. Ambassador, what are some destinations that the audience may not know about, that are really some gems, some beautiful places in your country, besides the places that people would know, which is Amsterdam, The Hague and so forth, some other, let's say, out of the beaten path ways, places that you would recommend for our audience?
Now, that is not an easy question, because you have to...
I mean, there's so many, I'm sure.
What the Kuwaitis would like to do. So we Dutchmen, when we go somewhere, we hire a bike, and we do a lot of biking. And it's easy because the country is completely flat.
Excellent.
But I don't know whether I can convince Kuwaitis to step up a bike. Most probably it's the first time in their life that they would go on the bike. So this is, it is a great destination, great way of making holidays.
I like biking, so it's
okay,
good.
Great. So you can go for the biking. And also going for, let's say, making a stroll. We like to walk everywhere.
Hiking, things like that around?
Yeah, oh yes. All
Beautiful
these
places.
things are happening. But, for the Kuwaitis, I would say the coast side is beautiful. The beaches, we can go to in The Hague. You have Scheveningen, which is great. Beautiful hotels. We also have that in Noordwijk. I think we go in Zandvoort. I think that's the type of holidays the Kuwaitis like most.
Yeah, and Holland's also very cosmopolitan. There's a lot of people visiting and so forth. So people feel at home. I mean, getting along, and a very friendly country. Also, myself visited many times. People very social and friendly. So you can't go wrong with that as a destination.
Yes, I'm always so surprised that the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, they all come to Holland and they see the whole country, all the provinces, because they're completely very fond of my country. And then the disappointment that Kuwait is only know Amsterdam. So, but maybe we can change that. It's still 4 years to work on it.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, we hope these 4 years go very well for you, and it's our pleasure to have you with us right here on Hello Kuwait. And as we're coming to the end of this interview, do you have any last comments or words for the audience watching this evening?
Now, I really, what is the task for a diplomat? Why you are here? That is networking. Because the work of an ambassador is not sitting behind his computer and learning a lot on the internet about a country, but we have to go out, talk to all walks of life. I try to give lectures at universities. Again, I think I already touched it, what I already said. I think it's very important that the new generation will be in touch with, with our new generation, and that we can work together to strengthen the relationship and to get a stable part of the world also here in Kuwait. And so that's my job, to get people together and to work for a better world, not only here in Kuwait and in the Netherlands, but especially, let's say, for the whole Middle East region. That the suffering, what we see nowadays in Yemen and in Syria and Iraq, that we overcome that. And of course, we know very much the humanitarian efforts that Kuwait has made, and we are very, very glad that you are doing so. But so this is, part of the job of an ambassador in Kuwait.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, we wish you and your family all the best of luck in your stay right here in the state of Kuwait, and we thank you so much for being our guest this evening.
Thank you for having me in your show.
Our pleasure.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank His Excellency Mr. Frans Potuyt for joining us. He is, of course, the Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to the state of Kuwait. We wish him all the best of luck in his future endeavors. And with that, we pretty much come to the end of tonight's episode of Hello Kuwait. I hope you enjoyed all that we brought to you on tonight's program. Make sure to enjoy the rest of your viewing tonight and all throughout the week right here on KTV2, the family channel. Before I leave you, remember to always take care of yourselves and each other, and let's always remember to respect one another. Have a very nice evening, and good night for now.